Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roundtable. Today we have a fun topic on hand, one that we actually did way back in July of 2021. This is part 2 of that topic. It's called Most Valuable, Least Valuable. So let's explain what that means. So we're going to spin what, of course, I'm calling the big wheel. I'm going to share my screen for each panelist here. Todd Evans, myself, Jim Benner, Jerry Schramm, and Paul Simon. Not to be confused with Paul Simon. I'm going to screen share, spin the big wheel. It's going to have every studio album, every live album, and then various other topics, decades, artwork, things of that nature. And when it lands on one of them, each one of us is going to give what we think is most valuable to that topic and least valuable to that topic. And I've encouraged these guys prior to recording, if it does land on an album, you can name songs, that's absolutely fine, but try to get creative with your responses too. So if you think a specific song is most valuable to that album, that's totally fine. But if you think whatever, get creative, right? So we do encourage you to play along at home. If you're watching, leave some of your answers in the comments. And with that, we will start. So Todd, you are up first. All right, moving pictures.
Ooh.
So what do you think is most valuable and least valuable about moving pictures?
Picking the most valuable thing about moving pictures. I think that it is probably the best balance between early more guitar-oriented rock, meat and potatoes rock of the early era, and the quality of the songwriting and the added textures of the keyboards of the later era. Best balance of those things. Least valuable? Wow.
Nothing. There's nothing least valuable about it.
That's a hard one. That's hard, man.
I gotta pick something.
Yeah.
Let's say that
Nothing. Yes,
it was
nothing.
difficult for me to understand.
Oh, I got one.
It was difficult for me to understand the camera eye. It took me a really long time. Like, it took me years to figure out what was really going on there. So I feel like that as a Rush epic, what is a little bit not so straightforward as some of the others.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. There you go.
Kind of weave your way around that one a little bit. So
Strong start.
Yeah, good job. All right. My turn.
Yes, your turn. Spinny. I'm gonna get some weird, bizarre topic. Oh, that you rigged it. That's rigged.
I completely rigged it. Most valuable. I think actually I'll defer back to the previous episode that Paul, I think you hosted it, right? What is the best sounding Rush album? I think most valuable about Power Windows is the fact that they brought in Peter Collins and completely changed, in my opinion, changed the sound from Grace Under Pressure and did a phenomenal job with it. I think the sound quality is great. Now, least valuable, I'm going to turn what I do think is a positive into what I do think is valuable to this record into what I think is also least valuable. So I've said in prior roundtables that I think Power Windows is the most balanced Rush album. All the songs are good. So what's least valuable about this record is none of the songs are great. None of the songs are hit songs, in my opinion. Some might say the Big Money, some might say Marathon, but they never really were huge radio hits like Moving Pictures. So what's least valuable about Power Windows, which is my favorite record, obviously, so that 100 times, is there isn't one standout track. So,
like, inaccessible to the general public.
Yeah, I would say so. I think a few songs are accessible.
I'm just gonna recap everything.
Yeah. I think there's a few tracks that are accessible to, kind of just rock fans, but yeah, general public. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a
that's true.
fair Spark Notes version of that.
That is true. Good job, Sparks Notes, Jerry.
That's for me.
All right, Jim, here we go.
Okay. Do not land on the thing. I'm going to make you spin it again.
All right, the debut album.
Yes. I think most valuable on the debut album, it was a rock solid, excellent rock album for its time. So it really, really easy airplay, easy accessibility to the songs, just like for the masses, pretty good tunes and everything, pretty rocking. I would say the least valuable aspect, and this has nothing to do with the fact that Neil wrote all of the other lyrics and he wasn't even in the band then, but the lyrics, probably because they were written very quickly when they were going to the studio, some of them were a little bit cheesy.
They were ripped
But
up.
that said, I love the album. I think it's a great album.
Yeah. No, good answer. Good answer. All right, Jerry. Spark Notes, Jerry.
Spark Notes, Jerry. You have 3 words to describe everything.
Yeah.
Isn't that another topic?
Stick to your.
All right. Hugh Symes artwork.
There you go.
3 words, Jim.
Yeah.
It is good.
So the most valuable thing about his artwork is just how much it represents the band. You can't really think of Rush without Hugh Symes' artwork.
Yeah,
it's just inseparable
for sure.
And what's the downside to his artwork? What's the downside to his artwork?
He wasn't on every album.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't used on Snakes and Arrows. Maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. The Snakes and Arrows cover.
Snakes, yeah.
Right.
And he started with Caress of Steel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the downside is the color of Caress of Steel. How about that?
Yeah, it was not supposed to be his current color, but
yeah.
But it's still one of the best albums they ever did.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways. Sweet.
All right, Paul.
All right.
Well, speak of the devil.
Yes. Here, do you need this to help for some inspiration here, Paul? Gotta leave this up here for you.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm formulating. I got it. Okay.
Formulate it.
Chris Steele, most valuable thing about it. The beginning of the epics. They're trying. First thing about me is Necromancer. That to me, everyone, nothing wrong with anything else on it. Bastille Day, Lakeside Park, classic for sure. Necromancer for me was where I really started appreciating Caress of Steel. That you could tell that they're really starting to get their. No, not really starting to. This is the origin of where they're going to end up going. So that for me is the most valuable aspect of Caress of Steel.
Yeah.
Least valuable to me is, not to steal the idea, but it's also the negative. It is the bare bones version of that. So for me, subjectively, it's a little rough listen at times because it is the start of, and since I wasn't there in the inception of all this, sometimes it's hard for me to get through it because I know what they're capable of and where they're going to end up. So subjectively speaking, the least valuable aspect is it is those growing pains and those baby steps. So
yeah. Okay.
Very good answer. Yep. Very good answer, I think.
Awesome album though.
Let's go through a second time, Todd.
Yeah.
All right, the entire decade of the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got Roll the Bones, you've got Counterparts, you've got Test for Echo, and then they put out different stages.
Okay, probably most valuable about the 90s is that even though they sort of started this in 89, they figured out how to streamline the sound just a little bit, so they went back to basics just a little, but without totally taking out the keyboards and orchestration and stuff like that. Least valuable thing about the 90s is that I don't want to make Ryan mad. I feel like
Go ahead, do it.
Please.
No one cares about making me mad.
I feel like Test for Echo is not. I feel like they weren't quite ready to make it, and it doesn't feel like it's complete to me.
How so? Let me challenge you on that. How so? What? No, really. I'm just.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
In that, for me personally, when I heard it, I was mad because I felt like they buried the keyboards on purpose, and I felt like when you could hear them, they were kind of like throwing people who like them a bone, and it felt like
Was it a dog ears pun?
What's that? Yeah, sure. But I felt like it was like there wasn't anything on it that all of it is just really solid, but there isn't anything on it that's exciting. There's no marathon on it. There's no, there's not, there are songs from previous albums that I just thought were really kind of sparkle like diamonds. And I feel like there isn't anything on Test for Echo that does that. It's just solid. It's just decent.
Probably Driven.
Okay.
Time and spoken.
Well, I will say, check out our Test for Echo deep dive, because that was the deep dive that I was most proud of, and I think we really did the album justice. So if you haven't watched it yet, Todd, or anybody out there that doesn't like Test for Echo,
I like it.
I think you well, fair, but you don't love it.
Don't love it.
I think you might come around on Test for Echo if you give that a watch. All
right. Yeah.
My turn. This isn't rigged, I promise.
Come on.
Man. 2 favorites in a row.
Snakes and Arrows. What is most valuable about Snakes and Arrows? I think this is easy. I think most valuable is Far Cry. I think Far Cry it was really, with the Hemispheres chord you got in it, and kind of calling back to early 70s Rush. It's heavy. It was a concert staple moving forward. The band loved it. I think that was really their post reunion hit song, right? Reunion after the tragedies. Least valuable, Jerry talked about it, the album artwork. I think the album artwork turned a lot of people off to Snakes and Arrows. Just good album artwork really draws people in, and when the album artwork is lackluster, it can turn people off. So Hugh Syme did his own iteration of this that wasn't used for the actual studio album. It was used, kind of tweaked for the live version of this, which I think is superior. So there, Snakes and Arrows.
Okay, there we go.
All right, this one's for Jim.
All right, something good. Be like in those old game shows. Come on, show me this.
No whammies.
Big money, big money. All right. You get to give your opinion. What do you think?
The most valuable, I thought, was there was so much acoustic guitar work on it compared to other albums. So that really kind of was a very, a standout, for Alex. He always stands out in my opinion, but this was just another kind of level of standout for that. And I really love how they got the acoustic guitar in there, and a lot of it is kind of throwback to the, to the early days and back to their roots. I think that's definitely good. And my least valuable, which is going to be a very unpopular opinion, is the main Monkey Business. I've always, while there's interesting parts of that instrumental, I kind of feel that the instrumental just kind of stays in one spot. It doesn't really go anywhere and come back and have major changes and stuff like that. So,
Interesting. Because they kind of constructed that in the form of a song with lyrics, right? I mean, to where the
Yeah.
instruments kind of played the lyrics or the
Yeah.
vocal. Okay. Interesting take. All right, Jerry.
Snakes and arrows. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dang funny if it happened again.
Feedback.
Oh,
Feedback.
you can
I
spin
will
again,
remind
you know.
everybody that everyone has
Spin
one
again.
respin that they can
Yeah,
elect to use.
let's do a mulligan on that
You
one.
want to do a mulligan?
Good
All
idea.
Yep.
That's my mulligan one too.
We all have one slot we dread. That was yours.
Well, look what we have here. So,
Terry Brown's Fly by Nature Signals, huh?
I have yet to listen to this podcast, so why don't you go ahead and promote it real quick, Jerry?
Well, this week, which is episode 179 of the Something for Nothing podcast, we talked to Terry Brown, of all people. So that's the plug. I don't know what else to say.
Nice.
Well, I mean, the best thing about his run is the run of albums. The best run of albums.
That's a killer
probably
run.
of any band. I don't know, in history. Come on, it's ridiculous, right? Fly by Night through Signals.
Yeah,
the best.
It's incredible.
How many albums is that? 8?
Fly by Night, Caress, 2112, Kings, Hemispheres, Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures.
Yeah,
Signals.
8 albums in a row is just the best of their entire career in a row.
It's awesome.
Back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And I don't see that there's a downside. I'm reading Getty's book right now, and I'm on the part where he's talking about Signals. And I guess when it came to Signals, they started thinking that maybe they could, squeeze more juice from the Rush apple, let's say, with a different producer. So unfortunately, the bad part is that it had to end because they just weren't getting the kind of feedback and growth that they wanted to get.
You said feedback.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say feedback.
Yeah, no, that's really good because that's really fair. Because I think Grace Under Pressure, while it's a fantastic record, I think it does lack Terry Brown or Peter Collins, right? It has Peter Henderson.
Henderson.
The producer.
And he was notably indecisive. That is one of the things that's been criticized.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I mean, I can't imagine that album being much better than it is, though. So I love Grace Under Pressure.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it would have been if they had gotten.
Yeah.
It's not Presto or Roll the Bones levels of, not so great production, but it's not, in my opinion, to the level of Signals or Power Windows. Yeah.
I hope they do a 40th anniversary of it because I'm.
Oh, that'd be great.
Buying that one.
Yep.
I might have to get another Grace Under Pressure tattoo then if they do that.
Just tattoo a little 40 under it. All right.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, 40 right under it.
All right, Paul, Rush and Rio. What do you got? Most valuable.
Rush and Rio. Well, and we did a test run, but I'm not stealing. This is actually my answer. It is seriously energy for sure. There's no topping that crowd. I think that is their best recorded live crowd and one of the best live crowds I've ever seen in a recording. They couldn't have asked for better. But the least valuable is actually a very easy answer for me, and I can explain why too. It is the sound, but specifically, they had equipment problems, and even Jimbo Barton would agree with this one. The compression on that mix is gross to me. We talked in the best sounding episode the other week about that, and this is probably, in my opinion, it's definitely the least of the live albums, easily by far. The compression that was used on that final mix is criminal.
Wow.
I mean, all Rush is good Rush, and it's an amazing piece of work. But that being said, the compression on is difficult for me to listen to in certain points of thing. So,
yep. That's fair.
That's a good answer.
That's fair.
And Paul mentioned test run for everybody in the world that aren't the five of us. We did a test run earlier. That was more or less the answer.
Make sure all the bits work, including our brains.
Yeah. All right, let's go through another time. Todd.
Yeah. That'd be funny if Todd got like all 90s albums from now on.
A Farewell to Kings.
Oh, that's not 90s.
Well, let's promote real quick. Todd, didn't you do the Farewell to Kings deep dive? Yes,
I did. Yes,
you did. So if you want to hear Todd talk about A Farewell to Kings, go watch the deep dive.
Yes, I did. Cinderella Man. Okay, so Farewell to Kings. My goodness, I think that the most valuable thing about Farewell to Kings is that there are moments in that album that I think have the most energy out of any of the Rush albums. I think when Geddy screams that line at the end of is it Xanadu? Wow. Oh gosh. Wow. Either Xanadu or when he says like a Spiral Sea unending.
Cygnus X1, yeah.
Cygnus X1.
Man,
yeah.
That is one of his finest moments. Sorry, I blanked out there for a minute. Yeah. I think least valuable, gosh. Probably the art. Even though I like it, I think that's probably the thing that I like least about that album.
Really?
The artwork, you said?
Yeah. The album cover.
Okay. It's hard to pick a least valuable on that album, man.
I can't think of anything.
It really is. That album's a masterpiece.
All right.
It's beautiful.
My turn?
Yep. Hemisphere. Oh, sorry.
All right, different stages. So I think I definitely think the most valuable aspect of different stages is the fact that they did 2112 in its entirety. I think that's what people go to that live record for. I would assume a lot of the times, they go. Well, I guess not Jim, but. That's what I remember different stages for, is the fact that they did 2112 in its entirety. I would say least valuable different stages. I haven't listened to this in a while, but I remember the crowd not being energetic. Am I right in thinking that? Like the complete opposite of Rio?
No, you're wrong, because I was there.
You were there? Okay.
I was there in
Tinley Park. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Let me just bring up different stages.
Yeah, we'll tell. Hey, everybody, we're gonna pause for about an hour and a half and listen to the album's entirety.
I just want to see what was on it, like everything.
No, it was. Paul, I felt that it was a very energetic crowd on that. I was not at this show, but just listening to it, I can feel. I
must be thinking of something else then. I guess we'll say what's least valuable about this is the fact that they included songs in the different stages, like the full set box set or whatever you want to call it, They included songs back from the A Farewell to Kings tour. And why that's least valuable is that probably could have been its own release, and it's kind of confusing because like some folks think that was actually on that done on that tour when it really wasn't. There's oftentimes I'll see Facebook comments mentioning, A Farewell to Kings from different stages. Well, it's not really. It wasn't done on the Test for Echo / different stages. It was done.
It's on the way back.
It was done, like Farewell to Kings era. So
maybe
that's the least valuable because it's kind of confusing and people get mixed up. So I guess we'll say that. So
good.
Jim,
my turn. Give me a good one.
I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
I'll spin it like that instead of just clicking. So,
all right.
That's a good one either way. Counterparts.
Oh man. Oof. The most valuable, to me, this was, at least to my ears, there's two kind of valuable things. The first really throwback back to the power trio feeling. And I could really hear it from, especially just even the first song, even from Animate and from Stick It Out too. It just really kind of guttural, in your face. We are a rock trio and we're going to make this sound great. And the other valuable thing was just the recording quality of this is just off the freaking charts. It is so dang good. Kevin Shirley's producing it's fantastic album, absolutely fantastic. And we talked about this on another podcast too. Least valuable of this one, man. I don't know. It's like Todd when you were trying to come up with the least valuable.
Right.
It's like, man, I don't know.
It's Double Agent. It's Double Agent.
Oh, come on.
Double Agent's still good. Actually, I think I mentioned it on the other podcast that we did, is like I think it was Double Agent that I said was kind of the song that didn't really fit with the rest. All the others kind of sounded like they should go together, but Double Agent didn't sound like it belonged with the rest. So I'll go ahead and say that's my least valuable. Still a great song, but yeah, there we go.
All right, Jerry.
Yeah, top that, Jerry.
God.
Yeah, really.
Top that, Jerry. Clockwork Angels.
Oh,
Clockwork Angels. Well,
yeah, it was okay.
It's a career-ending masterpiece.
Oh yeah.
There isn't a, well.
There's at least valuable. It's the same as your most valuable.
BU2B2.
Okay, well, there's okay. Yeah, there's that one. That one.
I know where you were going with that, though.
Yeah, the least valuable thing about it is that it is the last one.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
That it ended their career so strongly. You kind of wish that they could have done another one, and who knows where they could have done. And plus, Nick Raskulinecz, is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe it's Raskulinecz.
He just should have produced, he should have been the new Terry Brown. He should have produced 10 albums,
like everything
with them.
Oh
he brought out some of their best stuff.
These tables for this. I really can't.
Man,
you what, Paul?
I can't wait till we get to the round tables for Clockwork Angels. I really can't.
That'll be a while, but yeah,
it will.
All right, Paul, your turn.
And around it goes. Where it lands? No. Oh.
All right, Snakes. Do we want to do a free respin just because it had it twice?
Go ahead and do a free respin.
All right.
You're gonna get feedback now,
I'll take that. There's other things I don't want, so I retain my mulligan in case.
You got Presto,
Ah,
so one of your faves.
oh,
Okay, my answer's too obvious, so let me try and be at least articulate and specific and short too. Uh, Most valuable, Getty's dynamic vocal range, among many, many other things. You guys know it's my first and one of my favorites. But seriously, Rupert Hine brought out things in Getty's vocals that carried the rest of his career. And I think that's underappreciated. So I want to call that specifically the most valuable thing about this album. There's 1,000 other things I love about it, but I'll call that the most valuable thing because I think it's underrated. Least valuable, too easy to say the mix, too thin. So I'll say, well, that's obvious. Least valuable. No, I still have to go with that. I love it, but I still have to go with it.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? I want a full-fledged remix of this album.
yeah.
Sorry.
I do too. I really do. And
Mhm.
and let me
It
tell
deserves
you,
it.
It does. And those songs in concert, after listening to that, thin sounding album, you hear this stuff live when they did the Presto tour. Whoa,
Warpaint,
that's like,
Show Don't
oh
Tell,
man,
Scars
that
deserve
was
better mixes.
that was
I would say
amazing.
throw Terry Brown on this for we're talking, 6
Peter
years down the
Collins.
line. But I
Peter
would, I
Collins.
was going to say Nick Raskulinecz because I think he could really put some heaviness into this, which just enough heaviness into this that.
I'm going to
You're
disagree
saying
with that a
you're saying for
little
the
bit.
remix. I thought you were going to say at the
Yeah,
time. I'm like, he might have been 9 years old back
Oh
then.
no! I mean 6
This is
years
my
from
first
now
album?
when 6 years from now when they do potentially a 40th for this, or something.
Yeah. Todd, did
There's-
you have a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say there are some things in Presto that kind of sparkle. That I think that's one of the strong suits of Rupert Hine, kind of justice for Rupert Hine. But I don't think that Nick could have done some of those things. Like
That's
think
why I said Peter
way-
Collins. I don't
that's
want Nick
fair.
on Presto.
like
I
the
agree.
mix of Show Don't Tell is perfect, other than the fact that the drums need to be beefier. But everything else,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure Nick
Peter
would have been able
Collins.
to do that.
The drums of Animate on Warpaint, we're done.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's go through one more time. Shall we go backwards this time?
We could go random
the other
order.
direction?
That'd be fun. Go random.
All right. Jim.
See what happens when you open your mouth.
All right. We did already have this. This is the last round. You can use your respin if you want,
Yeah.
or you can give your opinion on it.
Well, if if it lands on feedback, I'm going to respin. So if you
If
don't
it
mind
lands
the
on
respin,
feedback, we'll give you power windows again. Yeah.
okay, there we go. That's good. How's that? Just so maybe we can get something different than we've already
Hold your
done.
fire.
There we go.
We haven't done
Hold your
fire.
fire, man. I think the best thing on Hold Your Fire is the songwriting. The songwriting is so good. The songs themselves are so good. Very complete songs, fantastic performances. There's keyboards, but to me, it's not like an overly saturated keyboard album to my ears. There's plenty of guitar, bass, and drums on it, and the recording quality, makes that stand out. So I think it's a great album. The least valuable, I don't want to pick on Tai Shan and High Water, but because I think so. I'm going to say this though. I'm going to say that the least valuable are probably those two songs, but the reason I think that is because they're buried at the end. And so you got all this great, powerful stuff, and then you get to Tai Shan, which is a fantastic song, but sounds so different. And I think people just kind of get turned off. And possibly if those were put in a different place on the album, people would have a different viewpoint on them.
Good points.
And I like those songs, Jerry.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Jim, you pick who goes next.
Oh, I think Jerry should go next because Jerry's awesome.
All right.
Uh we have something good.
All right. We already
Give him
did that
something
one,
good.
so Jerry already had that one, so we'll
Oh yeah. Spinny again.
all right. We already did Presto. Would you like a respin for this, or would you like to give yours?
Yeah, because it would be the same thing
Okay.
as has been said.
Third time's a charm here. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting something different here. Exit stage left.
Ooh.
Exit stage left.
With ellipses. With the ellipses. Jerry hates ellipses, by the way.
Exit.
Well, that one's used okay. It's a good use.
For everybody in the world other than the
used
five
correctly.
of us. Before this recording, Jerry told us he does not like ellipses. So leave some ellipses in the comments. All right, what do you got?
Well, it's used correctly in this
it
instance,
is.
so it's okay. Exit stage left is the best live recording, according to me.
Yep.
And I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm sorry. Too overly positive today. I'm in a good mood.
I can't
no complaints.
I think the only thing with that one, I don't know what Getty says during La Via Strangiato when Neil's doing his drum fill. He says something and it's like, what the heck?
Under representation of other material, nothing least valuable.
No, I think it's great. I think it's perfect.
It's a great album. It's awesome.
Just trying to pull something out of somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, you pick who goes next.
Fantastic album.
Oh, let's do Todd.
So
All right.
All right.
Hopefully I can redeem myself for mixing up the two most well-known Rush epics while I'm wearing Farewell to Keystrom.
Hey, that's okay. It could have been worse.
All right, we're gonna hit this again.
Okay.
Man, Presto's a popular little choice on this wheel.
Is
it weighted?
Something different.
As well it should be.
Is it weighted? Yeah.
Race Under Pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Live. Race Under Pressure live. So
wow.
Race Under Pressure live. What is most valuable
in that? Because I'm not really sure what to say.
All right. Let us know in the comments what you think is least valuable and most valuable. Race Under Pressure live.
Okay.
All right. Grace Under Pressure live.
Should I just do it?
Just do Grace Under Pressure at this point.
Yeah.
Can we just do regular Grace Under Pressure?
Let's see
R40. R40. Give us something about R40.
Okay. The most valuable thing about R40 is that the way that they sequenced that show, I think.
Yeah. That was cool.
I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. It was such a great idea. And that's that has to be the most valuable for me. Least valuable, gosh, this is another one that's hard. I don't want to say it's long. I mean, it's kind of long, but I don't think it's too long. Let me think. I think probably the fact that when I listen to it, I feel for Getty because of how hard it is for him to sing some of that stuff. And it just makes me, I just kind of, I get anxious sometimes.
Yeah.
It's very personal, I know, but that's the
I was going to say maybe leaving out a few albums. They left out Test Echo, Power Windows.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Presto,
they left those.
They left out like 4 albums. Could be wrong.
What else did
All right, Todd, myself or Paul? Take your pick.
Let's do Paul.
All right.
Okay.
All right, record producers. This is a good topic.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow.
And the comments section burned to the ground. Most valuable. Okay. I like that they went with the variety that they did. And while this may be mildly unpopular, I do think that they made changes at just about the right time for them. I like that. Least valuable. The fact that even though, no, famously, Peter Collins was Mr. Big and all these decisions, I know that the band had final say in most, if not everything, especially after a certain point. And I think in the mixes that hurt them sometimes. This came to mind when you brought up Clockwork Angels. I think in some of the mixes, I think the final product could have been a little different. And I think some of the mixes that, and I'm not talking the regular punching bags like Presto or Roll the Bones. I think that some of the albums, like I think Snakes and Arrows and Clockwork Angels, are both a little cluttered in the mix. And that bothers me because they have all the perfect elements there, but there's just something about it. They're too cluttered. So when it comes to the least valuable, and I'm not saying Nick is the least valuable producer by any stretch. What I'm saying is I think the producer should have had more of a final say in some of the choices that were made when it came to the final product.
I mean, I think the least valuable record producer, we can all maybe agree that it was Paul Northfield, Vapor Trails, the guy's name?
I would agree.
Okay.
I mean, considering that they had to redo the whole thing 10 years later.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Kind of a bummer.
No offense, Paul Northfield. If that is your name, if that is your real name, I think that's his
He's
name.
done a lot of really good work, so I think that there was some technical issues there.
Oh, it was a tough timing for the band too. I mean, some great songs there, but
yeah,
it suffers obviously. All right, so I'm the last one here.
You're last.
All right. This is good. The most valuable about Hemispheres is this is a cop out, but I'll just say everything. I mean, what isn't valuable about Hemispheres, right? I mean, the opening title track, Cygnus X1 Book 2 Hemispheres, phenomenal. The two middle tracks, Circumstances in the Trees, phenomenal. La Villa Strangiato, phenomenal. I mean, the only thing that I can think when I think least valuable, I think number of tracks. That's it. There's 4, right? Maybe they could have snuck something else in there. Maybe they could have snuck in Sir Gawain and the Green Knight in there somehow, which was supposed to be on Permanent Ways, but never was. Maybe they could have snuck another track or two in there, but it's. I'm not saying it's not perfect as is, but I have to give an answer as to what's least valuable about it, and I think it's just because it seems short because of the number of tracks that are on it. It's really pretty. It's a fairly. It's not even Permanent Waves is the shortest record by time.
Right.
But it just feels like there's just something missing in terms of number of tracks, because 4 tracks for an album is, to me, it just, again, I was born in 93. I didn't live it, so there's obviously some time aspect to it. 6, 8 songs on a record was normal back then, but 4, even then, 4 to me, 4 tracks. You could split Cygnus up. It is split up on the back of the record, but still, I think it could have served better with 1 extra track somewhere on there.
It's probably feels short because La Via is 9:35, so it's kind of a long piece. there, but
I just looked it up on Wikipedia. Hemispheres is 3 seconds longer than permanent waves.
Is it really? Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't
Perhaps,
think you could.
perhaps
I
it
don't
could have
think
been
you could-
3 or 4 minutes plus 3 seconds longer if they included a fifth
Right.
song somewhere there. But yeah.
I don't think you could fix this because I wouldn't flip flop the sides. I think that the sequencing should be exactly like
No.
it is, but it doesn't have a lead off track. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like sidelong epics, that's what you got. So,
Well,
but
yeah,
you can't fix that because you
right.
on one slab of vinyl, you can't do anything else.
It's 2112 part 2 in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
yeah. With a sidelong epic on. I wouldn't even say that, Todd. I would say maybe just another 3 to 4 minute track at the beginning of side B. Weave it somewhere in there before La Villa.
If they
That you
if they
could have done.
had
Yeah.
if La Villa was shorter, they could definitely have added another song.
Again, not saying it's not perfect, it is, but I have to give an answer. So who wouldn't want more Rush, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do one
Awesome.
thing here. I'm gonna see how this works. I'm gonna spin the
Uh-oh.
wheel for the comments section. If you're still watching at this point, give us your answer to this. We won't give our answers. So, what is most valuable and least valuable about the 2000s and beyond? So, from Vapor Trails onward. Vapor Trails, Russian Rio, R30, Snakes and Arrows Live. What else? Time Machine, Clockwork Angels, Clockwork Angels Live, and R40. You got a plethora of
live
of
and
choices.
studio.
Plethora, for that matter.
Yeah, or a plethora. Yeah.
Live and studio albums in that bunch.
So yeah, leave a comment. Next week I think we are starting Test for Echo song discussions. So unless we do some kind of switch up, but I think we'll be starting Test for Echo, and should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can change some minds on some of the songs on Test for Echo, because I think it needs it. That being said, happy American Thanksgiving to you all.
Yep.
This episode will come out the day after, but yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Aloha.